In this video, I would like to discuss something that a lot of viewers of my channel have asked me here and there about Chinese actors and why there are so many really cringy and bad actors. So today I'm gonna talk about one particular aspect I think that contributes to this situation, and let's head into it because there's a lot to talk about. Hi, you're watching Avenue X, where a junkie on good storytelling shares their thoughts, knowledge, and occasional weird ideas on stories and how they're told. Before I start to talk about the particular things that I would like to talk about in this video, let me first put a disclaimer out there. I did work in film, TV industries, but many years ago, I haven't been around that industry for a long time. Personally, I haven't really gone through Chinese acting or film schools. I did go to film schools, but not in China. So my direct experience are limited to what I used to do. I also have friends who work in the industry, so some of the information that I get comes sort of second-handed from them. And the fact is, if I actually work there, if my livelihood actually depends on it, I probably wouldn't be making those videos. So in this video, I would like to discuss one particular phenomena in Chinese actors' realm that I find problematic. It has been like this for a long time, so it's not a problem that just recently happened. It kind of was always there, and I think it seriously impacts the abilities and qualities of the actors who actually are trained as proper actors. So in this video, I'm not gonna talk about all the actors who come from other streams. I'm talking about the people who kind of set themselves out many years before they went into acting school to be actors, and then went into acting school and then become actors. So like professional actors. Also in this video, I probably am gonna just go mostly at actors. Sometimes I will forget to say actress because in Chinese, okay, there's no gender. When it's actors one word. It refers to female and male. I probably will forget to mention either actress or actor sometimes, but being politically correct. So this type of actors that I talk about are the professionally trained actors who went to proper acting schools. That would be a very limited number of schools actually in China. For example, in Beijing, the most well-known Beijing Film Academy or Central Academy of Drama. And other cities, some of the cities have this type of programs on offer, degrees, majors. But in general, those are considered to be university level education, so higher education. And these schools are very difficult to get in. Usually every year, the acting audition thing is a big spectacle for everybody who likes to go on internet in China. To discuss the problem that I observe about the actors selection process, you do have to first understand how China's college entrance examination works. Let me introduce that to you because knowing this will get you a much better understanding about the problem I'm gonna talk about. In China, the infamous Gaokao is the nightmare exam for every third-year high school student. In June every year, on 7th, 8th, sometimes on 9th, there's a national-wide exams held. And that result of the exam, that's the only thing mostly, determines what universities, what majors the students around 18 years old can get into. This is shortened as NCEE, National College Entrance Examination. You have similar things like that in South Korea, in Japan. If you've watched a lot of Asian dramas, you definitely have come across stories about how people are stressed out and traumatized and destroyed by the absolute insane exam system. For the students who want to get into those prestigious acting schools, they have to go through these exams too. In China, if you're a high school student, around the first and second year, you will start to pick whether you want to go down the humanities side or you want to go science side. We'll call it 文理分科. So if you decide you want to do universities that are related to humanities, such as journalism, law, that type of thing, you pick 文科. And then if you want to say, I want to do engineering or physics, mathematics, right, you go to the science side. Both sides of students actually needs to do mathematics, Chinese, English. They all have to do those three papers. The mathematics paper will be different because the science side will be actually more difficult, but we're not gonna go into that detail. Anyway, you know, they each have to do the three major subjects, and then they have to do a combination paper that is focused on either the art side or the science side. So for the art students, that combination paper will be made up by a mixture of subjects including politics, geography, and history. Whereas for the science students, that combination paper includes the mix match of chemistry, physics, and biology. And the grade, like the number, the points, is for the major subjects, Chinese, math, English, each paper, full mark 150. And for the combination paper, it's 300 for the three mixed match subjects paper. So your NCEE papers full mark is 750. And when you apply to university, that university will have its own points lines it draws. If you go over that, you can get accepted. And to make things a little bit complicated is for each university, they actually have different numbers, like the final grades requirement for different provinces students. So it's not fair or just one number over the entire nation. For example, Peking University, when they accept students who are local from Beijing, that line of acceptance might be only 570. Whereas if a student from Shandong province, or like from my hometown Chongqing, wants to get into the same major, same program, same university, they may need to score 670, like 100 points more. I'm not gonna go into detail about why this happens, what's the reason behind it, it's unfair, but just know every province has its own lines for every different universities, so that system is very complicated. But no matter if you're local from Beijing, which means Beijing's university will have a much lower line for you to cross than say if you're from outside. The fact is, you really need to go over, say, 600 at least to be accepted by the top-notch schools. For example, from my hometown, I want to get into Peking University, the best, Wenke. Realistically, from Chongqing, you probably need to hit 650 and above with the total score of exam to even be considered. If you look at suddenly this summer what their marks are, right, to apply to the best university in China, you kind of get the idea how difficult that is. That is the picture of normal students. Study law, study journalism, study biochem, whatever, like those normal subjects. Now, once you understand this, we should look at what is the requirement for art students who want to become actors, be accepted by schools such as BFA, Central Academy, into their acting BA degree program. For these two schools in Beijing, for example, for the recent couple of years, each year they admit 50 students into acting classes and usually dividing into two classes. So in Beijing, the best two acting schools accept total 100 students out of thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people from the country. And for those people who want to become an actor, they have to first go through a audition process. Usually happens at the beginning of the year, March, April, sometimes like earlier. It's usually very cold, and then they have to go to the physical location of the school and go through at least 3 auditions. First audition, second, third. And the people who get kept usually are people, for example, already have been training or have experience working as young actor and actresses. They may be very, very good at dancing, singing. They have to show like their ability to delivering lines. Obviously, appearance really matters. Once you've actually gotten through that, then you go back to wherever you are, and then you do that June NCEE exam. So your academic performance need to hit a certain level to combine your score of the audition and then to be accepted. Well, let's look at what is the requirement for Central Academy, for example, in 2017, if you want to get into the acting program. For Wenke student, you need to hit 346, and for Like student, 321. That is less than half of the full mark. The full mark is 750. 375 is half. And to be honest, if you are really good at your audition, the school really wants you. Even if you do lower than the 346 or whatever, they can let you in. That's how it works. If you do 250 or 270, they can let you in. This number is the Beijing local student. For example, if from a different province, such as Gansu, which is very far away, lesser economically prosperous place, if you're from there, your requirement is 200. So that's like what? Less than a third of the full mark. That is, if you fail at all exams, that's enough for you to be admitted. In the acting schools, the best acting schools, like the RADA of China, right? Is that like reasonable? You did less than 40%. of each exam. And in any circumstances, in any way, any type of exam, that would be considered F, okay? So you F everything, and you can still be accepted to the best acting schools because your audition gone through, and that's enough, really. That is such ridiculously low requirement. Now, I know a lot of art students that got into the acting schools, they already started do art and training as dancers, and their major job is dance every day for hours. That's true. And so they have very little time left for them to do academic studies. They are weaker at doing those papers than a normal high school student. But still, it is such a low requirement. It's the prestigious acting university and school saying, we really don't need the actors and actresses to do well in academic studies. Just be good at dance, singing, performing, and be pretty. Then we can accept you. Is that a good signal to send out to the young people who are in the future gonna be the next major actors and actresses who will be leading the cultural content production of a country? I always believed storytelling probably is the strongest human element of human. The reason we have culture like what we have these days, the reason that people have identities, the reason each nation is stories. We innately need stories. Humans survive on stories. Our culture survives on stories. And the storytellers, the most influential storytellers, are the people who work in film, TV, content creation industries. These people have very big burden and responsibilities on their shoulders for years to come to be the people who become the instrument of carrying on a culture's tradition and its stories. And isn't it important to make sure that they are basically academically well-trained and capable? There are so many problems with Chinese education system, and I agree, not everybody is sort of born equal in terms of being good at academic performances. But also there's a plus side of that education system is it really builds you strong foundations. You need to get certain abilities trained, learned, professed to be able to further your education in universities or in your career. Especially for actors and actresses, I think it's actually really important. For example, if you're really bad at logic, people give you a really bad script that logic just fails everywhere and you can't spot it, you're gonna be the person who end up in the frame and then talk shit that doesn't make sense. If you're really bad with history, with literature, with your basic understanding of Chinese language's tradition and how to read, for example, ancient text, your ability to control the language is one of the most important things of actors because you have to speak lines. I've literally seen young actors who are so poor at their academic studies that they can't understand what they're reading because the script is like an ancient superior drama and it's written in a language that is different from modern sort of language. But the thing is, if you actually gone through high school properly, it's really not that difficult. But they can't do it. They literally look at a paragraph and they don't know when to stop, when to pause, which is the character or the word that you need to put emphasis on, and what exactly does it mean. I've literally seen young actors who do that, who are like, they don't know what they're talking about. The director has to come in and teach them line by line what it is that they're saying. That is just ridiculous. I often talk to the friends that I have who work in industry, for example, in theaters, in performance, in art and stuff, and we often just go, why are Chinese actors 素质, the quality, so low compared to this sort of similar age group and sort of similar fame level within their own countries' actors from, for example, Britain. I like to use Britain as an example because I've been there and I know it really well. Obviously, there's that argument that's in Britain as well about, like, say, elite, right? Elite people actually being the sort of the leading actors, the most important influential actors. And that also says something about the unfairness, right, of access to resources. That type of story, we're not gonna go there, but I do know it exists. But say, for example, I often talk to my friends that are like, look at Tom Hiddleston's interviews, or Dan Stevens, or Eddie Redmayne, or Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, these are my favorites. Often you come across like they can do long interviews for hours, and they talk so eloquently, and there's so much going on. Like, you know, they're not just the face that are good looking or the acting skills that are brilliant, that enigma on camera. They are people who are also very well learned in history, in arts, in literature, in so many philosophies, so many things. They are like broad and deep reservoirs of knowledge. And you can't say that wouldn't help them being better actors and advancing further in their career. It's so important. Whereas so many similar age range, successful level Chinese actors and actresses, I can honestly tell you, it's very hard for them to hold any difficult interviews. There's very little they know. They can't carry a meaningful and interesting conversation. And it is to do a lot to do with that base education requirement that's non-existent. And also there's a really bad side effect, a very pervasive but very strong social, I wouldn't say stigma, but it's a type of discrimination against art students because the requirement is so low. If you choose in your high school to be trained as actors and actresses to go to acting school in the future, everybody around you, your peers, your teacher, your parents, your relatives, your parents' colleagues, everybody will look at this kid, right, who's in high school as, oh, he can't perform well at academic studies. He's stupid. He's not intelligent. He's not hardworking. He only wants to play, and because he's so just not responsible for his studies, and he can't get into any proper universities. Therefore, they become actors. This idea is very pervasive in China. I've gone through Chinese high schools, and there was a time I really wanted to go to BFA and become a director, but I didn't even try because I know I'd be crushed by my parents, by everybody around me, and especially the teacher, because I was one of those good students that had high potential of getting into Peking University from Chongqing, which would be something that's very proud for the high school, and the teacher would actually get money reward for being able to produce a student who managed to go through the exam and get there. I know all the teachers will kill me, and they will make my life hell at school if I say I don't want to go to journalism major BA in Peking University. I want to apply for director at BFA. They will kill me. Like, I would not have survived. But obviously I didn't even do the last year of high school, so hey, I escaped. But I understand that thing is so, social thing is so strong. And honestly, most of the high school students these days, you don't have financial freedom. You are controlled by your parents. If they decide not to support you to go through, say, acting school, which are really expensive, you're not gonna go through it. You don't have money to do it, that's it. And that pervasive discrimination against our students comes from the fact that our students really don't need to perform academically well. It's so wrong in so many ways. And then you look at, there are certain actresses who come from totally not related to acting background, who gone through normal universities and for some reason ended up in acting, often come out as more capable ones. Or they have like things they can do that actors who always just wanted to be actors and actresses can't. I mean, shouldn't that get people thinking, like, is the current system, the education system, the process actually doing disservice in training capable and creating possibility of long-lasting careers of like really good actors and actresses? Also, there's one thing I want to add to this already very long video coming from my friends who work in theaters and performance in art, because they have access to, say, a Central Academy and those places. They constantly work with these people. From their decade-long observation in recent years, the quality control of trainings at those schools are dropping very significantly. It used to be that for BFA and Central Academy, every student who are in acting major needs to get up at a certain hour every morning to do morning exercises. You run, right, laps, do all kinds of like physical exercises, open up your voice. That is part of curriculum. And in recent years, they see a lot of dropping of that tight control. A lot of the young students don't do it anymore. They are absent. They go out doing films and dramas before their first year complete. I can't actually verify that firsthand because it's a second-hand information, but I would trust this person. And also, there are many young people who got into those schools before they even got on any shows, any drama. They already, right, start to build their fan base by becoming live streamers. There are so many live streaming platforms in China. They tend to be very pretty, right? These people who got accepted. So they already start to build their fan base. They can get money that way faster than they do dramas that go away for 2 months in the mountain. I mean, the best acting schools in China is not meant for training live streamers. Like, But that's the situation. That's actually the situation that's ongoing. And I'm like, what the heck? You already are poorly performing people at academic studies, and you're loosening your quality control of your training of those 4 years, and everything is about how to become famous and rich right now. I mean, what's the future? What is the future for drama, film? This is just like really bad news. I'm talking about this. I'm ranting about this in English. So hey, good luck to anyone who actually studies acting schools in China, or like are in charge of like whatever those systems can even come across this and hear me rant. That's just how it works in China. Now you get the information, you can form your own opinions. At the end of this, I want to say academic performances do not equal to high intelligence, and I don't think it's fair to ask someone who is just super talented at acting to be also very good at doing mathematic problems. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a general recognition of the importance of academic performances and the training of the mind is important for people who seemingly are just be pretty, dance, like act in front of camera. You don't need to have a brain. Excuse me? What do you mean? Do you think actors are just like things, objects, and you move around on a chessboard? Do their own ideas and thinkings and knowledge do not matter? I don't agree with that. Like, never will agree with that. And those schools actually admit directors, for example, you go to director major, if you go to scriptwriter major, at a much higher score than the actings. So that's like also very twisted. It is like saying if you want to be a scriptwriter, you need to be better than the director too. Like, the scriptwriting programs usually have very high, like 500 requirement of your scores. We need actual hardworking, intelligent people, like with quotation mark, that intelligent people to do writings and directing, and then we just need pretty faces to be actors. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's wrong at a system level, and somebody needs to do something about it, but it's not my job and I can't really do anything about it. I just want to rant about that, and I want to introduce actually the situation to my viewers. And if in your country, things work similarly, totally differently, and you are actually very well versed in these situations, welcome to leave comments and then discuss this with other people and with me too. That's the end of this really long video. Thank you for sticking through it, and I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.